Tires and engine oil are the two easiest things you can change that aren't a huge impact on budget, that can give you the biggest impact on fuel economy.
So today we're talking about Shell's Starship initiative. I just want to start out asking what that is.
So it's a program that Shell started it started around 2016, but we did our first record run in 2018. So officially we say 2018 was the start of the program. But it was basically an idea where there was so much new technology and speculation and everything else about where the trucking industry was going to go from a sustainability perspective, right? And there still is it's still kind of a mixed bag of answers that you get from people and everything else. But our intention was to test out readily available technology, see how we could, make it work with our truck. The only thing that's proprietary on the truck is the design of the cab. And see what works and what doesn't, and what we can learn from that, and what kind of information we can impart onto our customers, mainly fleets, that they can learn from for their own things that they could implement. It was in the beginning. We talked a lot about, sustainability. Now it's more about fuel economy and total cost of ownership, because we all obviously care about the sustainability aspect, but at the same time, we recognize that people are running a business and need to be able to run it efficiently. So we try to focus on both of those aspects now.
Has a new truck been created every year or how many is?
Well, it's the same truck. Uh,
Okay.
it's just different parts.
Okay.
So we started in 2018. We did our record run with the 1.0 truck. That one was the first one that we did. We built it from scratch with a guy named Bob Sliwa up in Connecticut. It's a carbon fiber cab that he literally designed and built. But since then we've done 2.0, which was still a diesel engine, but we made some adjustments, and we learned a few things from the first time. And then 3.0, we decided we'd kind of capped out on what we could do with a diesel engine, so we decided to switch to a natural gas engine. So that was the major change from 2.0 to 3.0, was the fuel system and engine running on natural gas, and what we could do with that. The aerodynamics and everything else that we learned from 2.0 were pretty much still the same.
Now, for those who are just listening, can you explain what this looks like? It looks very futuristic.
Called the Starship because it looks like a rocket, right? In the beginning, before Shell, really started implementing stringent brand guidelines, our logo used to be this little rocket that would fly around in our videos. But really, it's based on that engineering platform of the aerodynamics, right? So it's definitely got a different look than your typical Class 8 truck rolling down the road.
And do you know where the idea for this came from?
Um, you know, I think it was really just a conversation that probably started at a trade show, if I'm gonna guess. It was somebody from Shell and somebody from probably another vendor, and Bob Sliwa, who I mentioned. They probably all started talking and said, you know what, we this is a really good idea. Like, there's something here. Let's see if we can make it happen. Um,
And what kind of explain to me what is the process every year of making changes? What does that look like?
So I would say that we make changes every year. We make changes when we feel like it makes sense. Like the big question now is what's next, and who knows is the answer, because that's kind of what the answer is in the industry right now. Everybody's, I think, looking at electric and hydrogen, but I think we're all well aware that the technology just isn't there yet, especially for long haul trucking, right? Really, the main thing is we look at, is there enough new something that makes it worth making a change. So we felt like that, that case was made with the natural gas engine for sure. The infrastructure's there. The Cummins just started, delivering from production for their X15N engine. So it made sense that we switched to natural gas. But had there not been another solution with natural gas, I don't know that we would have done a 3.0, right? It's just whatever makes sense in the industry at the time.
Now, what is it on the truck that people can get right now that would increase fuel mileage?
So I love to say the easiest things they can do, and this applies to owner operators as well as fleets, because I know most of your audience probably leans more towards owner operators, and there's a lot of stuff on there that probably doesn't make sense for an owner operator because the expense doesn't outweigh the benefit, right? But the two easiest things anybody can do is running a lower viscosity engine oil and synthetic transmission fluids, as well as low rolling resistance tires. Tires and engine oil are the two easiest things you can change that aren't a huge impact on budget, that can give you the biggest impact on fuel economy, right? So those are the ones that I feel like the trade-off is worth it. Especially, with the low viscosity engine oils, it's a little bit more of an investment on the upfront, right? To pay for a synthetic engine oil change, but at the same time, you can go longer between your oil changes. So you're saving money there. You're not changing your oil as often. And you also can get a pretty decent boost in fuel economy. I mean, that has a huge asterisk on it, right? Because there's a lot of things that impact fuel economy, especially driver behavior. So if you have a lead foot, you're not going to save, a lot. But it still can have a pretty big impact on the performance of your engine. And that's, in the long run, that can lead to a pretty significant reduction in cost, right? So those are the two that I really like to focus on when I'm talking with owner operators about what we've learned from the Starship program.
And does the Starship, does it go to different truck shows or trade shows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we go to Act Expo with it every year. That one is usually West Coast somewhere, and it focuses on, clean transportation. So it makes sense for us to be there with the Starship. But we also just like to show it off because it's fun. It goes to our Super Rigs event every year. I know you guys know about Super Rigs. We love to have the Starship there and hear the input that we get from the truckers. For the most part, everybody thinks it looks really cool. But again, you've got a lot of opinionated guys at Starship or at Super Rigs, so you'll also hear a few, like, no, not for me.
I was curious
Um,
about that. What is usually the reaction from?
Yeah, it's usually it's a mixed reaction. For the most part, everybody is curious
Mm.
at minimum. The funny part to me is the drivers tell you like that when it was a diesel truck and now when it's a natural gas truck, they will literally be fueling with diesel or natural gas, and somebody will walk up and say, "Is that thing electric?" And it's just like, no.
No.
But I mean, it does look like that, right? It's got that futuristic look, so you just would assume that it's something that's not available now, but it is.
And I know you referenced this earlier. What is in line for the future, or do you know?
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We're right now we're just learning what we can from the natural gas version of the truck, because I still think there's some things to learn from that. I think that is, we work really closely with Mike Roth from NACFE, which is the North American Council for Freight Efficiency. They do all the third party validation of our fuel economy numbers and the what we call freight ton efficiency. And Mike Roth aptly calls it the messy middle. So, like where we are today between the old, 4 miles per gallon diesel engines and whatever the future holds with hydrogen and electric. But in the messy middle, we've got to figure something out because we can't keep operating the way we were before, right? There's government regulations and everything else that are going to force us to move on. So we feel like natural gas is kind of that messy middle solution. So I think we've still got some stuff to learn from that one. And we always, I mean, Rotella has always been kind of on the forefront of any kind of technological advancements or, like with the PC-12 stuff that's happening now for new regulations for 2027, or, new technologies available in engines where engine oils need to advance, like with the FA4 stuff, that kind of thing. So we always stay ahead of trends and what we see happening in the market and where the market's going to go. So, it's just keeping our ear to the ground with that and seeing when and where is appropriate to make a change for whatever Starship 4.0 might be. Who knows?
I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
All right.